Hello and welcome to another LEGO Train MOC Showcase video. This is another Thomas & Friends character, and at long last, I can now say I have built Emily. Emily is a character I've wanted to make for the longest time, but I was too scared to make her. Her locomotive basis is a Great Northern Railway Stirling single, which is a very beautiful locomotive. However, that is not the easiest thing to make in LEGO form. The big single drive wheel and the splasher details around it are not easy to get right. Now on Emily, it's different to how it looks on the real thing, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a challenge. After a day of getting this perfectly right, I went ahead with the rest of the model, and that was surprisingly easy. Just like all of my other characters, I use Golden Bear push-along toys to use the faces. Now, some toys are easier to take the faces from than others. Emily was a pretty easy one, but there are also some toys where they have prongs on the back where they connect to the actual toy itself. But that's something that can be easily removed thanks to the use of a Dremel. Now, this is an interesting model because I love how this looks, and I might rebuild this one day where I can just take off Emily's face and put a normal smoke box door on the front. It's not going to be the best thing to do, but I just love how this looks, with or without a face. Now, some people might already realize that this isn't perfectly accurate. There are supposed to be some brown details along the side of the running board, and the lining is all done in gold where most of it should be yellow. Now, I don't have that much yellow trimline tape left, and I very rarely used gold, so I thought I'm going to use some creative liberty for this model, and made the appropriate changes. It was such a convenience factor to be able to use the gold lining tape, and besides, look at how it reflects. It's beautiful. And going for black along the side of the running board instead of brown, it's just saving me a massive headache. The way I tackled the wheelbase is quite fascinating, and one I didn't think would work, but it does, and I am so relieved for it. So the drive wheel itself is blind. The front pilot wheel is also blind. I've had to take a normal train wheel, cut off the flanges, and then kind of tidy up the rim by using some black trimline tape. The second and fourth wheel on the boiler unit have the flanges, and it still works. I mean, it's not stupid if it works, right? It's a very interesting method to use because it's a very unorthodox method. A blind drive wheel, especially for a single, might not be the best thing ever, but at least I can get this round R40 corners without a hitch. And despite being stuck with some awful lighting today, all of the wheels have been painted in dark green. Again, I do apologise about the lighting because I can't really show that off to its fullest, but the dark green spray paint that I have is pretty much spot on with LEGO's dark green, and I'm so relieved because there are other wheels I've painted for other models in the past where it doesn't quite match up to the LEGO bricks, but this I definitely got away with. The splasher detail for Emily was the main challenge. That was without a doubt the hardest thing about this model and took the most amount of time to finish. It's a bit weird to see now because I've covered it up with some trimline tape, but it's a very similar process as to how I managed to do the splasher for my LNWR Precedence class. And because I made that, I remembered how I made those splashers, and this became a lot easier all of a sudden. So the main thing to take away here, just keep building LEGO trains, a bunch of different designs, old and new, discover and refine techniques, and you'll find that making a model like this is a lot easier than you think. The tender is two things. It's beautiful, and it's proportionally weird. Yes, it really is supposed to be this tall, but the dark green, the shape, the gold lining, the overall look and feel, it's nearly spot on. The only thing I don't like is how these grill pieces have been attached to the side. If you look at it from a top perspective, it looks way too chunky, but there was no other method that I was satisfied with in order to achieve this look. So whilst this is still a gorgeous tender, it's a bit weird looking at it from certain angles. I've had a bit of a play with Emily already, and I am so happy with this model. This is definitely, without a doubt, one of my new favourite models, both in terms of LEGO Thomas characters I've made, and just LEGO trains in general. It's an engine that I've been wanting to make for the longest time, But like I said earlier, I was too scared to make it. But now that I've taken the dive and actually went ahead and built it, I'm just so amazed with the end results. Like I said earlier, I wasn't able to make this in the past because I wasn't really ready with all the techniques I had learned and developed, but at this stage in my LEGO train building career, I could definitely go for it. And that should be a message to anybody who's watching this video. Consider joining my Discord server to join the conversation and chat with like-minded LEGO train and Nerf fans. Make sure you are following me on Instagram and Flickr for some sneak peeks and behind-the-scenes action. Keep an eye out on the community tab for polls and updates. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.